I think in the PTA world, we attach so much to our title PTA. And I actually had a guest on my own podcast, PTA Plus, a while back who said that she was working with an individual who said, "Why do you put so much emphasis on the A?" So physical therapist assistant. And this person said, "You're putting so much emphasis on the assistant, but you're forgetting to talk about all of the great things that you can do with your license and with your skill set and things like that." So that always kind of resonated with me. But as far as when it comes to pushing boundaries, I like to say that I really enjoy showing up to events or places where there aren't going to be other PTAs or that there isn't supposed to be PTAs and just showing up in the room and then asking a bunch of questions. Some of my pathway to where I got right now is very much so against the grain. It's very non-traditional. So I'll even go way back to high school. So this was, of course, a million years ago, but I went to a technical education center. So I graduated from high school, but I also graduated from technical education. And at the time, back in 1999, that was looked at as the place where people went who weren't going to go to college. It was, well, that's where all the kids go who don't necessarily have a plan or a pathway or a future. But that technical career center is what plugged me into physical therapy. And because of that technical career center, I was in a health program. They got me connected into a PT department and I worked as an aide all the way through PTA school. And
Yeah.
so, I kind of think in my head, I would like to go back to the counselors from high school who said, maybe you're not college material, or, maybe there's something else you can do besides college. And, here I am 3 degrees later, potentially looking at an EDD in the future. It's like all these things. I'm like, well, that you you tried to define my story. You tried to label my story before you even knew what I was capable of doing. And so to me, I try to remove some of those boundaries and barriers to what we see or what we think or perceive are boundaries and barriers that we can't cross. So I kind of like to push the button a little bit and ask some more questions.
I no, no, I like that actually. Y are okay, so this might be a controversial question, and we can pass on if you like. But so, this, PTAs, and I'm just using the term broadly, PTAs, within, like, the clinics, that you've seen, are PTAs better equipped for, like, certain roles or responsibility in clinics than maybe their other peers? I don't wanna turn this into, like, PTAs versus, other
Sure, yeah,
disciplines,
yeah.
but I guess the question becomes, like, are there things that you notice, just in broad trends maybe that PTAs might be better at? Like, are there leadership or other business roles or other roles entirely within the clinical or within the, context of outpatient care that maybe PTAs are better equipped for?
It's a great question, and I don't find it controversial at all. I think that this has become a much more analyzed topic than what it was 5 or 10 years ago. So our accreditation standards in PT and PTA education are starting to force PT and PTA students to like talk together a little bit more, which is like a novel idea, right? Like, why haven't we done this for? We've been in the profession for over 50 years. Like now we're finally going, oh, we should probably, figure out what each other does before we decide to jump into the clinic together, right? As a PTA, this is threaded into what I do. This is part of my license. I am responsible to follow the physical therapist plan of care. It's legal. It's what we do. It's in our ethical standard. Like that's what we do is follow the PT's plan of care. Excuse me. So we like to say that we're intervention specialists. I see this a lot in PTA education where we get DPT students and PTA students together, and we just have them ask questions like, tell me about your books, your textbooks. What made you get into this field? Get to know each other as a human being first. And then we start to ask them questions about cases and we give them some cases to look at. So here's a patient. Is this appropriate for the PTA to be treating this patient? What kind of legal and insurance things do you need to look at? And so we allow the students to kind of navigate these cases together. And oftentimes the PT students, the DPT students are so floored at how many interventions the PTA students know to do with the patients and are also kind of blown away that the PTAs are able to do more in the clinic than what they thought. So to me, it's a very like groundbreaking moment for these DPT students to kind of go, oh, they're allowed to do way more than what I thought they were able to do, or they can pursue certifications and advanced pathways to make themselves a more qualified practitioner in the clinic.
If you'd like to learn more about Strata PT and see how our EMR and RCM works, head over to stratapt.com to book a demo.